Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. Let's start today directly with a test. So I'll give you some sentences and you need to decide whether we use the verb to do or the verb to make in the sentence. So I did or I made a mistake. I did or I made the housework. I did or I made you a favour. I did or I made a decision. Confident you have the right answers? Keep watching and I'll break down the differences between these two verbs, give you some rules to follow, give you some specific contexts where you need to use each of these verbs and clarify the answers of that test for you. Let's go. So yes, the verbs to do and the verbs to make. This is one of the most common mistakes I find from learners of English across all the levels from beginner up to advanced level. It's a tricky topic. It's not particularly easy to explain. I'll do my best here to try and break it down for you. So why is this difficult for people? So the reason is that in some other languages you have one verb where in English we have two. For example, in French, the verb faire could be to make or it could be to do. So clearly if you have one verb and two options, it's going to be difficult for you. Now let's start by looking at what the difference is between these two verbs. Let me start by saying is that the rules between these two verbs, they're not very simple. They're not very easy to remember and easy to follow. So it's a difficult topic from the outset. And also the rules, there are so many exceptions to the rules that the rules are almost not rules. But I'll give you a couple of tips, a couple of pieces of advice, which will hopefully help you be right most of the time. Unfortunately, they're not right all of the time, but I'll try and give you some tips to be right most of the time, as I say. And unfortunately, that's the best I can do on this topic. So let's start with the verb to do. So when you use the verb to do, you're focusing on the action, the acting or performing of a task. And normally it's a task that already exists. For example, you can say, I did a test. That means that the test already existed. The method for the test already existed and you performed the test. You followed the procedure by doing it. On the other hand, the verb to make, we're focusing on the product or the result of something. And often we're producing something that didn't exist before. So to make a comparison, you could make a test. And this means to produce, to create a test. So in the context of an English lesson, as the teacher, I could make a test. I could make a test for you. And then consequently, you would do the test. So I make the test, I produce it. We're focused on the results, what I've produced. And you do the test, you do the activity of taking the test. So there's a nuance there, but it's an important distinction here in this context. Now, as I said, the rule, it's not very sexy. It's difficult to remember. When you're speaking, it's difficult to put this into practice. But to help you, fortunately, you don't always need to remember this rule because we have what we call in language lots of collocations with do and with make. And this means that these words live together. Some words live with do and some words live with make. And here you just have to memorize really, these words I use make and these words I use do. By memorizing these different categories of high frequency words, these are the words that most people make mistakes with too, then it should help you be right most of the time. So let's start with some collocations with do. So an important one for people in the working world is to do business. An example would be, you could say, it was a pleasure doing business with you. Another one, this one was in the test at the beginning, this is to do housework. In fact, most words that finish with work, homework, or just work, in fact, you say do, to do homework, to do housework, to do some work in general. These are all with do. To give you an example with housework, I don't like doing housework. Another one, shopping. To do shopping, you never make shopping. An example could be, where are you going? And the response, I'm going to do the shopping. Another important one for people in business is your job. You do your job. You never make your job. So if somebody thinks you're not doing what you should be doing At work, they could say, "Excuse me, can you please do your job?" Another one from the beginning, a favour. Do a favour. Not make a favour. Do a favour. Could you please do me a favour? Now, on the other side, some collocations, some words we always use with make. This one, as a language teacher, I hear every day, is with the word mistake. So it's always make a mistake. Now, if you go back to the rules at the beginning and saying we're focused on the outcome or something that doesn't exist, it's kind of difficult to explain this, but it's just a collocation. As I said before, these words live together. A way to remember, which sometimes can help people, it starts with the same letter, M, make, mistake. Okay, and this is something that we use a lot, particularly when we're speaking in another language and we're learning. It's an expression that you need to use a lot, obviously. So an example, I always make the same mistakes. Another example, one that's close to my heart, is to make a tea or make a coffee. Shall I make you a tea? Also on the list is a noise, to make a noise. So that machine's making a strange noise. Important one, in business again, to make money. Okay, you can't do money, you make money. This is also to make a profit. To make a profit, it's also on the list, not to do a profit. To make money and make a profit. Similar. Not exactly the same, but two important ones if you're in the business world. And the last one from the test at the beginning is to make a decision. Now this is a common mistake with my students because they often say take instead. Now it's not completely wrong if you say take a decision in English, but it's more common to say make a decision. My students are mainly French native speakers, and in French you say use the verb take with a decision. In English you use the word make. Never do, always make. Sometimes take, it's okay, it's better than do in any case. So an example, I haven't made a decision yet. Now for a more comprehensive or detailed list of the collocations, you can get in touch with us on the contact details below here at the Balkan School, or you can check a grammar book, or you can simply just Google do or make and the word that you want. Obviously, when you're speaking, it's difficult to do that, but if you're writing an email, it's good to check, because it can make a big difference to the sound of your sentence. If you don't have the right one, okay, most of the time we understand, but your credibility is affected a little bit and it doesn't sound good. Right, that's it for today. I hope that's clarified this tricky topic a little bit for you. As always, feel free to leave comments in the comment section below. Check out our other videos. We have lots of videos on grammar, vocabulary, etc. So once again, thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Take care. Goodbye. Cheers. See you.